Okay, today I'm going to be fixing this Acrodyne radio from 1925, and there's my cousin Micah. Okay, let's open this and see what we're dealing with. We have a tube that is absent in there. I suspect these are all O1A tubes, and the detector tube is a 300. CX300A. Okay. That's the detector tube, so this one detects the radio waves. These are detectors and amplifiers. These last two are in the amplifying circuit for the loudspeaker, which would plug in to there. These were for headphones right there. I suspect these are still good. These look like Sylvanias. Yeah, Sylvania. Okay, so these are O1As. Yeah, O1A. This is a type O1A tube. And this would be the same. Okay. We're missing an O1A tube right there. This is probably Cunningham O1A. Yes. Okay. So I have an O1A tube ready to go. Pardon my table. It looks like something out of Frankenstein, but they don't. My nickname isn't Dr. Parkenstein for nothing. Okay, so I was able to find this O1A tube. I think it's an O1A tube. I can't find any engravings on it, but I would imagine that's what this is. It looks like one. Oh, wait. Hang on. What does that say? I see a 0. I see a O1A, I believe, right there. We're going to try it and see what happens. Let's go ahead and test this tube, though, first. So I'm going to be using this 1930s Supreme Automatic Vacuum Tube Tester. This is the original paperwork that came with it. This is a schematic for that machine. We'll go into the schematic really quick so I can tell y'all how to read schematics. Here's the schematic for this Supreme Tube Tester, the Type 385 Supreme Automatic. This right there would be that lamp right there. If you see two plates that are spaced, such as, let me find one, such as, okay, well, now that I look for one, it's hard to find. Here, that's a capacitor right there, because a capacitor is two metal plates separated by a dielectric, or two conducting materials separated by an insulating material. So that's one plate of the capacitor, and that's the other plate of the capacitor. That's why they do the abbreviation for it that way. These squiggly lines are resistors. Here's more capacitors. These are resistors right here. This is a transformer right here. You can see the windings of the transformer. This is your primary winding, so that goes to power. This is your secondary winding. It looks like the primary winding is tapped for different line voltages. Yeah, it says adjust to line voltage. This is your vacuum tube right there. This is a triode type vacuum tube, which is what this radio uses. This would be your plate right there, or your collector. This is your emitter, or cathode. And then this is a grid right here. So think of it as the cathode boils off electrons, and then the plate collects them. But in between that and the plate, there is a grid. Depending on how you apply the current to the grid, it can like filter this current or suppress it, or you can amplify stuff with it. Anyway, that is how that works, and I will quit talking about that. Let's get into testing this tube. Okay, now I'm going to find the O1A tube on this chart, and it'll tell me how to dial in everything. O1A, the filament return switch should be set to 7, which it is. That's 7. We will set the voltage to 5. This is 1 under what it should be, so we're going to put it like right there. And then we're going to do this to 74. It was already there. And then to test the tube, we depress button F right there. Let's go ahead and test our line voltage. That is not working. I'll have to fix that. Okay, well, the line voltage is 125 volts. Okay, here's the tube. We're going to put it in the 4-pin socket right up here. This should be on AC. This should be on tube. Perfect. Now we're going to turn this on, and the tube should start glowing. Why isn't it glowing? Bruh, why are you not glowing? Stupid tube. Okay, maybe this is a bad tube. Let me tinker with this a minute. You know, it kind of helps to have the machine plugged in. Okay, now I'm going to test this tube. Okay, the tube is glowing. It is on. Let's depress button F. It appears we have a good tube. Okay, let's turn this off. And we will replace the missing tube in this. So the problem with this tube is it doesn't have a line in it so that I can kind of put it in the socket properly. So temporarily I will use this tube and just wedge it in there with something, and then I'll order another tube. Okay, I can't find anything to wedge this tube in there. That's okay. We'll just hold it in place temporarily to make the radio temporarily work. Okay, now I need to connect battery A. Battery A should be 6 volts, and then battery B can be 45 to 90 volts. Okay, let's connect it. Okay, here is the 6-volt battery I'm going to use for the filaments of the tubes. This is the battery that tipped over and spilled the other day, and I had to replenish the electrolyte in there, or the battery acid. I mixed, I think it was 1 part sulfuric acid to 15 parts of water, and I poured it into these caps. Into here. Can this open? Dadgummit. Into there. Anyway, it should be a good battery. We'll see. Okay, I'm going to twist this wire around this post on the battery. I've already twisted a negative around here. The negative goes in right there. The positive is right there. And this is the other end of the positive. Okay, the battery is connected into the back of the radio. Let's see if it works. It does. It works. Let's put this one tube in place and see if we can get it to work. I might have to clean these terminals. Okay, I got this tube situated and it is glowing now. So let me turn off the radio and show you that they stopped glowing. And now they glow. So it should be working. Now we have to connect our antenna and connect it to the ground. For the antenna, I'm just going to use this coil I wound in here. Now we must connect our 90-volt battery. For that, I'll be using this little DC power supply converter thingy. Okay, now we're going to connect our B battery, which is the higher voltage battery. This goes to the plates of the tubes. Anyway, so the B battery, if you'll notice, there's 2 positives for the B battery right here. This one's the amp, this one's the detector, amplifier detector, and then this is the negative. That is because back in the day, you could get 45-volt batteries and go from here to here with a 45-volt battery and from here to here with another 45-volt battery. And that would drive the loudspeaker at a higher voltage. But that is why there's 2 positive binding posts. Okay, I've got the A battery connected, which is a 6-volt battery. It connects to these binding posts back here that are labeled A negative, A positive. This is our negative binding post for the B battery, and these are the 2 positives for the B battery because we're only using 1 power source for the B battery. I have it set at 45 volts right there. I have 9 volts going into it from like my old computer charger. I cut the end off and just fed it into here. I'll rewire it if I need it again. But anyway, there that is. It's supplying 45 volts right now. To the plates of our tubes. For the antenna, I'm using this coil I hand wound. It goes and connects where it says antenna right there. And then for the ground, it goes down. Mike, can you move? Goes down this wire, and I'm about to ground it to something. I think this house has been rewired, so I think the mouth end of the plug is actually grounded. If you think of the plug as a face, the mouth is supposed to go to ground. Anyway, that's literally going into a rod driven in the earth outside. Okay, let's go ahead and we will turn on the radio. Our tubes are glowing. For the speaker, I'm using this Atwater Kent speaker. Oh my god, I just tripped. Almost died. Okay, it comes back here. It goes down this line. I have it kind of wired like this because I don't have the proper end. I don't have a stereo jack for that. Did I disconnect it? No, it's still going. Okay. Our tubes are on. Let's go ahead and dial into a station. There's usually something on number 10. I think if I close this, it'll help it. And if I turn the light off, it'll help. And this light, too. Oh, now it's dark. The heck? I'm surprised there's no talking on this station. Okay, let's see if we can get a different station. Is this antenna even connected? Will you hold this, Micah? Just right there, just pinch it. It's not going to shock you, I promise. Not this time. Okay, there's something trying to come through here. Keep your hand pinched on it. That sounds like a football game. We need a bigger antenna. That's coming from San Antonio, I think. Yeah. Some kind of football game or something. I can make it more sensitive if I up the voltage on the plates. Let's see. Actually, let me dial it down some. Let's see if this does anything since I turned it down. Keep pinching that. Let me get this dialed in. Okay, now we've tuned into some kind of Mexican music. Okay, let's keep going. Sometimes there's stuff on 30. Let's see. There used to be a channel that would read radio stories. Okay, this one is pretty close. Okay.